morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 4 and episode number 300 and... No, 400, something, 300, what the hell?
429.
Wow. Got out of the starting blocks and tripped over the first hurdle.
Well, it happens.
Superstar. Okay. Let's try that again. Episode number 449.
How does one become an expert?
Sorry, that's my phone in the background.
Oh, okay. Episode 4. Okay. Take 3. Episode 429 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. Today, recording day is Friday, July 19th, 2024. And it is a beautiful day here at the Beaver Lodge. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him. Hey, Mr. Beaver A. And with me, kind of, sort of, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today?
I think it's good. I've been awake, or I only got 2 hours sleep, so I'm a little, when we were leaving Kimberley yesterday, I realized we had a big drive ahead of us, so I had 2 cups of coffee, which was around 5:30 p.m. Local time, because I'm still in Calgary. I was just trying to fool people with the old background here for fun, but no, I'm still in Calgary. And, I'm in Calgary again because I was in Kimberley, BC, and we drove back last night. And of course I sat down, got in, got a shower, had to shave because it was so blisteringly hot in here. And we sat and had a beer and had a chat and hung out with my buddy till, I don't know, he was probably around 1:30. He's like, I'm going to go to bed. I go, yeah, I should go to bed soon too. But I can't sleep. So I lied in bed till about 2:30. Ish, and then the alarm went off. So here I am. I was up at 4:30 Calgary time. Yeah, I got things prepped, and I'm a little bleary-eyed. Or also, what's the lyric from the Hip? Squint-eyed and confused.
I cannot believe you are doing this.
Well, I mean, I slept in yesterday. My alarm went off, and I shut it off, and I fell right back to sleep. And we were both just wiped out the day before. Went on a big hike, and we started off with going about 300 meters straight uphill at like a 60 degree pitch. So when we finished that section and continued on the rest, we were getting eaten by flies, roasting in the sun. Like, we put on bug spray, but when you start sweating like a madman, and of course I was getting whipped by grass, so my legs were all red and swollen, and mosquito bitten, and so we were just, that wasn't fun at all. So we we went back to camp and dropped off some stuff and thought, okay, well let's go into town and we'll get a bite to eat. So we went into this pub, nice pub, hoping to sit in a nice cool air conditioned thing just to cool down. And they did have air conditioning, which would have been great if the temperature was like, say, 27 or 28, but it was 36. So it was completely ineffective because they were just like small, the elongated ones you see sometimes that go in small offices. This was a fair-sized pub, and they were really ineffective unless you were sitting directly underneath one. So we're sitting there having lunch, and I had a beer and 2 or 3 glasses of water. And I looked at him and I'm just fading. And he goes, dude, would you have any objections to checking into a motel or a hotel nearby? Because I need some air conditioning. I'm like, I need to lie down. Because we had planned on going down to the beach to rent stand-up paddle boards and go for a little rip. But we were just so physically exhausted at that point and dehydrated that it was like, no, let's just go lie down. So sure enough, we got into a motel. Nice motel, actually. Older, but the rooms were spotless. I mean, you can eat off the floor. This place was so clean. They had brand new beds. So get in, air conditioner, and turn on the fan. Air conditioner was cranked. It was about, 70 degrees. So what is that, 22? Lied down in the bed. I was out like a light. I set the alarm for 1 hour. I woke up 90 minutes later. My alarm was going off for 30 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's how exhausted I was. So I got up, took a shower, and we went out and had a bite to eat, and then went for a walk around the neighborhood. Then went back in and said, both of us had no energy. So thought, let's just watch a movie. Sat down on the bed, turned on the movie, start to watch the movie, and power goes out. Like we had a brownout, then the power went out. And I was like, well, I think I'll just go to bed now. It is 11 o'clock, so what the heck? And so I went to bed, and the power came on 2 hours later, I guess, because I heard the air conditioner kick on. And it was on for 2 hours, and then it went out again. And I don't know what time the power came back on, because we packed up and checked out at 11. There was still no power. Then we had to drive around to find a gas station that was open and pumping gas that had power, because the grid was split up. So we found a place right next to a McDonald's with the biggest lineup I think I've seen in years at a McDonald's. So grabbed some breakfast and gassed up, and then headed out of town. Yeah, so went deeper into BC and did a little bit of a tour around, stopped off in Kimberley and checked out some sites, and yeah, it was a great day. The drive, like yesterday, was wonderful.
Yeah.
The day before we were wiped. We just went back, packed up the camping gear and everything. It's like, there's no way I could have, it's like, I got to go lie down. I'm like, yeah, but I can't do it in this heat in a tent. I'll die. He's like, oh no, we're grabbing a hotel. So yeah. Anyway, that was the last 2 days. Bit of an adventure. Yeah.
Wow. It sounds. Sorry.
I was just going to say, and Jillian, heat exhaustion is no joke. And you were right, Jillian. It isn't. We were dehydrated and suffering from heat exhaustion, the two of us, and we were completely wiped out. It happens. And one of the things that I've been cautioning people about in this part of the world is that because it's so dry, you can actually, sweat does evaporate and you cool down, but you're mistaken in thinking that you're okay because you can't hydrate quick enough in this heat. And unlike the humidity that I'm used to in Ottawa and the Valley, it's the dry heat isn't as harsh, but you can be fooled. Your body and brain can fool you into thinking that you're okay when you're not.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we know in the humidity you have to keep consuming electrolyte beverages, and we had a couple of Prime yesterday morning to start the day, and after that it was like we were doing great, but it was a rough day the day before.
Oh man, yeah. And I know what you mean with the heat. Yesterday when I was talking to the kids, there, I had played tennis in the afternoon, and I got back home, and about an hour and a half later, I was like, my tummy doesn't feel too good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's it can take stuff. It can knock the stuffing out of you.
Mhm.
All right. There is so much news.
Yeah.
So much news. It is ridiculous. Okay. Going through lists very, very quickly,
Mhm.
in no particular order. When we were talking about Goldie Gamari and wondering
Mhm.
if she was still the chair of the Standing Committee of Justice, it seems that she
Mhm.
was, but she is now no longer. It seems that that's been
Oh.
taken care of. Yes. So, just now she is fully out of caucus and is not chairing any committees. So
Mhm.
she is free to run for the federal Conservatives. Um,
Okay.
hey, a door opens, she
Uh,
said.
true. True.
And she was talking to, Tommy, and the Tommy bone's connected to the Rebel bone, and the Rebel bone's connected to the Jenny bone, and the Jenny bone's connected to the Pierre bone. So, just saying.
Sorry. That was funny.
Just saying. Connect the dots. It's like there's less than 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah. Ronald Rump Roast finally delivered a speech, finally said something for the first time, because when he appeared on stage the first night at the RNC convention, he didn't say anything. It was just Donald Trump. And then, as people are describing it, as a maxi pad that he had on his ear.
Mhm.
That apparently there was nothing on his ear earlier that day.
He's just,
Apparently that the dressing just appeared.
yeah, he's playing it up for the camera, nothing else.
Yes. And then yesterday in the crowd, you saw people like wearing,
Yes, it's a
everybody
cult.
around, right?
It's a
Everybody in the
cult.
crowd is like wearing one of those little things now, I guess. And Roy Wood Jr. actually was giving was chatting with the people of the panel on CNN and made them crack up because he showed up with a packet of cocaine on his ear.
Well, I don't know if you caught one of the people who came out, gave a speech before Trump took the stage to do his speech, but I have to show you this because it will blow your mind.
Okay.
I'll show you it and then we'll talk about it.
Oh yeah. No, God, no. No. We don't need to do that. Oh
For those
no.
of you listening at home, it's a side-by-side picture of Hulk Hogan with a Trump Vance shirt, and on the next photograph, it's a picture of and his name is escaping me, but from the film Idiocracy, who is the president in the film, and it's like Idiocracy is almost actualized. Terry, what's his surname now?
I know, I can't remember it off the top of my head.
But yeah,
From
it's like
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, from Everybody Hates Chris, from
Yes.
American, what is it? America's Got Talent. Terry, I can't think of his last name right now.
Terry
I'm
Crews.
just blanking. Terry Crews, thank you.
My God,
Yeah.
Terry Crews. Jeez. My
Yeah.
God, that's terrible. This guy's everywhere.
Yeah.
His name should be emblazoned.
Yeah,
on my brain.
Crews, Crews.
Yes,
Yeah.
Crews. Yes. Hulk Hogan showed up and did his whole thing, and Donald Trump was like, you could see like the cutaway. Donald Trump was like super happy. He was like in his happy place when Hulk Hogan was on stage, right? Then apparently Kid Rock was there too, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I did see a tweet from the Iron Sheik, who died in 2023, who basically was ripping Hulk Hogan to shreds for this.
Oh,
yeah, former wrestler. Yeah.
Jeez. All right. So yeah, the whole thing was that this event had changed him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
And it's gonna be more unifying. So he trotted on stage last night. say his first words since the attempt in public. Formally accepted the nomination. With faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Started off not so bad, speaking about what happened to him. Had he kind of kept to that, may have been okay, but, motor mouth gonna motor mouth. So we went on for 92 minutes, the longest acceptance speech in Republican history. 92 minutes. And, well, yeah, I was, we were saying like this, maybe he does have the discipline for this because he sure has the discipline to not say Putin in a bad way. So, then again, Donnie's not very good with stairs.
Amongst other things.
Or ramps. So,
or behaving normal around his eldest daughter.
I am being really, 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 really just petty right now. But he accepted the nomination. And then when he was talking about it, there was like I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. Now, this is where I am conflicted because he was shot at, and it's serious. And then there's the other half of me that turns around and says, "Yeah, because and you also stand there by the grace of monoclonal antibodies."
Yes, science, amongst other things.
When you say I'm not supposed to be here, this might not be the first time you could have emerged from a situation and said that.
Yeah.
During your presidential political career, whatever this thing is that you're doing. I don't know if it's crass to point that out. But I'm pointing it out because it is a fact. All right. Then, top priorities. 2 things on day 1, right? Drill, baby, drill, and close our borders. Promise to build an Iron Dome for the United States. You saw people. There was like people commenting and starting. This is great. He's doing really well. And then, oh no, this is going on too long. No, and by the end, by the end of it, it's like I completely retract. Oh my God, terrible. So the whole thing was that this thing happened. It was supposed to change everything. Then the polling didn't follow. 538 showing that now in the simulations, Biden is winning the Biden-Harris ticket is winning 54 times out of 100 in the simulations, up from I think it was 50. Trump was leading it at one point, at some point, a while ago, a few months ago. It was like 52, 53. Now it's 54. So it's not working with him like this. And then we have the leak the leak to RFK, right? That tape, that portion of the conversation that was leaked, where I'm listening to both the fifth column. He says that the thing was on speakerphone. Don't assume that that's type of setup because RFK has this thing about putting a cell phone to his ear, the waves or something, vaccines and whatnot.
Well, they did have brain worms.
Yes, but he's got something about that. So that's probably not so much a setup, but the fact that it was on speakerphone and it was recorded by someone in RFK's family, who they all got together and endorsed Biden. So, right. But there's a theory going around, plausible theory, that maybe the internal polling is showing that Trump is not doing as well as he would like to by this point, and not so much kamikaze candidate Robert Kennedy, but join my party and we'll do great things together.
Mm-hmm.
So he might be feeling the need to reach out to the third party candidate in order to try to shore up his numbers, because something is showing that it's not going his way. Because he doesn't reach out to play nicey
No.
unless he needs something. He doesn't start blowing sunshine up your butthole unless he needs something. Unless he needs you to do him a favor, though.
Quid pro quo.
Just saying. So that's the theory that's going on. So he didn't take advantage of the moment. He was not able to keep it about unity. He does not have that discipline. So now we have a situation where this big opportunity is essentially squandered, right? And yet nobody's talking about taking him out of the race. But apparently back on the Democratic side, even though it's showing Biden winning 54 times out of something. Poor sucker came down with COVID, right?
Well,
On top of everything that's going on.
Why, like, if he's winning 54 times, why do they keep saying he's going to step down this weekend?
Everybody is, well, now that he's caught COVID, that fits into the old and frail thing, right? Just like old and frail. And they say he's old and frail. He can't do it. He did something. He did like 18 appearances in 8 cities, like in the first 3 or 4 days or 5 days after the debate. And he's done more because he's keeping up a pace that I would not have been able to maintain when I was 30. Right? Because he goes to the NAACP thing, knocks it out of the frickin' park. There a couple of days, and then all of a sudden, boom, COVID. Well, yeah, he turned, his publicist is saying, I mean, I know it sounds a little trite, when you're talking about a campaign, but when you did that many appearances in that many cities, you've mingled with a lot of people all of a sudden. Just saying.
Yeah.
You've just greatly increased your odds. It's not because he's old, it's because he's freaking campaigning. It's like, so you wanted him to get out there. He got out there. Don't get mad now. It's just, but apparently, yeah, they're all like, there's more people, Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi and there's Chuck Schumer, and they're having these conversations like, you really need to go now. Now, of course, while he's out of commission and self-isolating, well, that gives Kamala Harris an opportunity to shine.
Well, and one of the rumors that she'll have a running mate in Pete Buttigieg.
That's a rumor.
A rumor.
It could also be, if he doesn't step down like this, that, everybody knows he's going to step down in year 1 and we're going to get a President Kamala Harris anyway.
That's the likelihood. But
everybody was saying like this, the pressure on him was to step down last night, yesterday, and to time it with some of the moment that Trump was going on stage to do some counter programming, just like Trump did to them, right? So, but he didn't do that. He said it would be super ballsy of Biden to decide that he was going to step down on the night of Trump's acceptance. That's like, yeah, it would have been ballsy for about like 7 minutes, and then the news cycle, the crazy news cycle that we're in, would have moved on. These people are still thinking that we have the news cycle from 1985, where you do something, you do that one thing, and it lasts like 3 days, right? It's like, it doesn't. It would be, tongues would be wagging about this, especially in the United States. It's just until the next thing. So it's like, even like they tried to assassinate the president. Yeah, that'll be the thing until the next thing.
Yeah.
That in this news cycle, this is the old conventional wisdom, is that thing permeates the entire campaign and lasts until the end. Not in this reality, not in this timeline. That's not the way it's working. Especially, again, they squander every advantage.
Oh, yes.
All right. So, but you have Kamala Harris now. And for the next few days, while the president is isolating, because you can't leave a vacuum, so she does have to step up. So it's like it's like this is not like a stab in the back type thing. She has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's isolating. I guess, but even though she's vice president, there's been almost no coverage of her up until now.
Very, very little.
Very little. They've been giving her very, very little visibility. I mean, she's been busy. She's been out there like this, but for some reason, the cameras are not following.
Mm.
Or if they're following, the main networks are deciding that she's not interesting and so she was not interesting enough to play it. Well, all of a sudden, how'd you like her now?
Mm-hmm.
Now you get a situation where people are getting a little taste.
Yeah.
Of what
We'll see what happens.
Kamala running for president would be like.
Well, I mean, she's whip smart, incredibly capable, is not one to be challenged in a debate because she will wipe the floor with you.
Well, here's the other thing. In a situation in the U.S. where it seems like, thanks to the SCROTUS, Trump is not going to face any legal consequence whatsoever.
Well,
Wouldn't it be nice once for an hour and a half to have him sitting side by side with a prosecutor on TV?
yeah, Kamala Harris being a former prosecutor.
That debate would not be about closing the border.
No. She would eviscerate him. At least, I think.
Yes. So, yeah. So flop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And no big strategic advantage getting out. Now, I'm not saying that the people there, I guess, probably didn't eat it up for the first bit, but again, some of the commentary from people that are there, it's like people were like at the end of the concert, leaving before the end of the last song, or at the hockey game when it's like 6-3 and your team's losing, so there's 10 minutes left in the period. Let's just get out of the parking lot now. That there was that bit of a mood, it seems, there near the end. So, and a lot of the comments, again, and these are the comments from the inside of the house. The calls from coming inside from the house from the Republican side, like, make the convention speeches shorter, damn it. So, the speech wasn't even a hit with the Republican insiders. So, as Trump likes to say, we'll see what happens when it comes to that. But he did not. There was a golden opportunity handed to him, and he did not stick that landing.
PNC bio is a valid statement here. J.D. Vance graduated summa cum laude from Yale Law. I'd wager he can debate. Yeah. And who was his best friend in law school?
Jamil Javani.
Yeah.
Although, I have to wonder if they are still friends.
I don't know, but I do have to say this: if Kamala Harris decided to choose Pete Buttigieg as a running mate, and he, was to be the vice president, have you ever seen him?
Oh yes. He is very, very, very good. But
I think he'd do okay against J.D. Vance.
Oh yes, but the reason I am asking the question if they are still friends or how long it's been since they've talked is this, Mr. Grizzly. If you'll put it up there, because go ahead, Mr. Grizzly, please.
No, Vance said a national abortion ban was necessary to keep George Soros from flying black women to California for abortions.
JD, do you remember your best buddy is black?
Yeah. I don't think he cares.
And and this man is married to a woman and has 3 kids with a woman who is not white.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He said that.
Yeah. Well, I just, yeah. I've heard so much crap out of that guy's mouth in the last few days. It's just like, does he have brain worms? Because
again, if I was media, Jamil, any comments about what you think about your university buddy now?
yeah.
He seems to have forgotten that you're either once friends or that you're black.
Well, you also remember in 2016, J.D. Vance said that Trump was America's Hitler.
Yeah.
And now he's got his nose so far. Anyway.
Yeah. French kissing that colon clean. Swear. Jeez.
Right in the balloon knot.
Right. Yeah, in the balloon knot. Really sad news.
Bob Newhart?
For us. Well, yes, that too. Comedian Bob Newhart, legend.
Comedic legend,
has passed
absolutely.
away. Beautiful tributes all over. I mean, nobody has any bad thing to say about Bob.
No, everybody loved him.
Right. So just the most gorgeous tributes. You know, it's like, Bob will probably wake up in bed next to Suzanne Plachette. You know, it's
I had
Julia.
a dream. I was running him in Vermont.
Yeah. Julia Duffy was on Newhart and was saying, expressing sorrow that she lost the second most important man in her life. So, big love. The whole gang from Big Bang Theory, of course, right? As well. So, he's going to be that's another big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Michael. Nobody did Deadpan better than him. So, Bob Newhart, and then on the other side of the ledger, Lou Dobbs.
Oh, yeah, Lou Dobbs. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he died yesterday, too.
And that was about the reaction.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm so sorry for the people listening audio. That was probably a little loud there. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, it was like all over Twitter, like Lou Dobbs today. Oh, Lou Dobbs died, and I'm having chicken for dinner.
Oh, yes. What a shame. Anyway.
Sort of. Yeah. Kind of cold. But when I was saying something terrible, I guess I was being a little Canada-centric. Minister of longtime Liberal minister, Seamus Reagan,
stepping down.
is stepping away from politics. He's resigning from cabinet in order to, of course, make room for someone who'll be coming in, thus landing a little more substance. Well, obviously, there will need to be some type of shuffle now.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, there was talk yesterday about rumors of a shuffle, but we didn't know why. And then Minister Reagan, as an announcement came along. So he said that the Prime Minister is expected to name a replacement on Friday when he will hold a cabinet meeting. So, I mean, there doesn't necessarily need to be a shuffle. He could just put someone in that position and not do anything else. But there had been rumors of a shuffle. I guess they would call it a mini shuffle. Some people would try to call that a mini shuffle, that one person is replaced. But a mini shuffle would typically is just 2 people switching seats.
Right.
Or 4 at the most, and then a little around. But yes, it sees that a source with direct knowledge said that Mr. Reagan informed the Prime Minister several weeks ago that he wanted to leave politics so he could spend more time with his partner, who lives in Toronto. The source said Mr. O'Regan found it difficult to be living in Ottawa and commuting to Newfoundland and Labrador while his spouse was in Toronto. So basically, work-life balance. You can only do that for so long, and sometimes, when we were talking about the Trudeau splitting up,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
right? It was like everybody was speculating on a whole bunch of reasons, and was, of course, partisan. When you add the partisanship, it's all the worst stuff. But it's like, it could have just been something as simple as, what, you want to run again?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
Mm-hmm. And
No.
there's speculation to that. Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
No, I did not sign up for that. No. You see what this is like?
Mm-hmm.
No. You see what happened when you two? No. Right?
Well, so let's compare and contrast how they're begging Joe Biden to step down, and everybody's saying he's going to do it. You've had the Canadian media begging the Prime Minister to step down and get out of the way, and I'm like, but why would you do that? He's still a young, fit man who's capable and has done a lot of good. It's been a transformative government, and it's been a minority government. So, when the election campaign starts next year, I think they're going to trot out, well, do you like having pharmacare? Do you like having dental care? Do you like having child care? Do you like the child tax benefit? Things that they've brought to us, to all Canadians, and how it's made us better. I think they need to put that as part of their ad campaign, along with, let's take a look at all the things the Conservative government under the current leader have voted against. And it's literally every one of those things. So I think it's going to be an interesting campaign. I honestly, when I hear many people say, wow, I sounded like Trump on that one. But many people say that Poilievre will be the next prime minister and the Conservatives will form the next government. And I don't dismiss them. That is possible. Anything is possible. But let's not forget that the last 3 elections, the polls all predicted somebody else was going to win.
Well, at some point.
Mm-hmm. At some point.
Yes.
As Senator Patrick Brazeau said, do not underestimate him. You do so at your own peril. So I think it's going to be an interesting election campaign. And it's just because, there's 84 Democratic elections taking place this year globally. So,
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
And let's look at what took place in France too, to make us, how things went there, how things could go here.
Right. Yeah, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. There was some good tributes to him as well in the Globe and Mail. David Parkinson wrote an opinion piece about him in terms of his work, because he held 5 different ministerial portfolios throughout his time in government, and he performed really well in all of them.
Yes.
But this one is really, I think, sums up at Labourers where he had the opportunity to shine the most. In a trying year for Labour relations in Canada, Seamus O'Regan was often the man in the middle. The federal Labour minister and his Liberal colleagues had several high-profile, economically sensitive disputes land squarely in their laps in 2023. In April, the government was hit with a 2-week strike of more than 150,000 federal public servants. In July, a strike of port workers shut down the country's West Coast ports for 2 weeks. In October, an 8-day strike of the St. Lawrence Seaway workers brought the vital inland shipping corridor to a standstill. In all 3 disputes, the government faced loud and persistent calls from business interests to implement back-to-work legislation. In all 3, they refused. Mr. O'Regan would like to keep it that way. The cabinet minister from St. John's is clear that he's not disposed to giving anyone the easy way out by intervening in work stoppages. Quote, stop looking at me to do end runs on collective bargaining, Mr. O'Regan said in an interview. Quote, sometimes people look to a government to interfere, to make things happen more quickly, or in a way that would be more favorable to them. Invariably, my response is to sit at the table, do the work. Government shouldn't be involved in this. I talked with Mr. O'Regan just ahead of his constituency office holiday party, as he prepared for a welcome break after a contentious fall sitting in Parliament and particularly unharmonious year for Canadian labour. Government statistics show that through the first 10 months of 2023, nearly 2.4 million persons' day of work had been lost to strikes and lockouts, already the biggest annual total since 2005, and about double the annual numbers in the years immediately preceding the COVID-19 pandemic. This despite still historically strong employment, an economy that has managed so far to resist recession, and annual wage gains running higher than they have in decades. Certainly, high inflation coupled with high interest rates have played a big role as workers and employers have felt the pinch, and everyone wants to make up for lost spending power. But Mr. O'Regan believes that there's a psychological aspect too, a hangover of fear and distrust from the pandemic. Quote, "We're just rattled. We're jarred. We went through a period of time when we're afraid of one another, and I don't think we're over it," Mr. O'Regan said. People at those negotiation tables, whether they're with unions, whether they're with employers, they're products of the world around them and products of their lives at home. If things seems a little more testy at the negotiating tables in this country, it's just because those tables are occupied by people who are feeling that too, he said. Our conversation took place not long after Mr. O'Regan had gone to Bay Street to deliver a speech in late November to the financial community. That's akin to having lunch in the lion's den for a minister of a government that has often been viewed as, if not anti-business, at least routinely tone-deaf to the concerns of corporate Canada. I asked Mr. O'Regan what message he wanted to get across to the business community. Quote, "That my motivation in this and most things I have tried to do politically is really about stability and certainty," he said. "I've had my ups and downs in life and I have coveted stability. I think a lot of people, particularly these days, do too." For its part, the business community has let Mr. O'Regan and his government know that they're not thrilled with some of its more baldly pro-labor policies, such as its recently tabled legislation banning replacement workers in government-regulated workplaces. Bill C-58 was in the second reading in the House of Commons before the holiday break. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce has argued the bill, if passed, would destroy the carefully constructed balance between employers and unions that encourages negotiated settlements. And then basically it goes on to him saying at the end, Mr. O'Regan doesn't buy the argument that a replacement worker ban tips the scale in favor of unions. Quote, "The problem has been a long-standing one, that what workers bring as their value, their actual label, could be usurped, or you could work around it by just having it replaced. If you were looking at two neutral negotiating bodies across from each other at the negotiating table, and one could have its value replaced by somebody else that's cheaper, nobody would look upon that and say that that seemed in any way fair," he said. "We've accepted it because it's just always been the way, but it's always been the way since Charles Dickens's time. It was the way back when children worked looms," he said. "It's archaic."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, one of the good ones.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely.
One of the good ones. But I get it. That's a tough life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, traveling back and forth between Ottawa and Newfoundland and your partner is in the
Yeah.
love of your life is in yet another city. And then considering that this is a 24/7 job,
Yeah.
this sounds like either he really did genuinely miss it, or it could be a combination, or Sweetie put their foot down. They have children too.
Yeah.
So, you know.
It was probably a combination of a lot of things.
Yep.
It's not an easy gig either. As I've said time and time again, and I even give credit to Pierre Poilievre, a man who I detest, despise him and his politics. I guarantee you he puts the hours in. The man has never had a real job. He's never worked in the real world outside of politics. But I guarantee you he puts the hours in his job, as does everybody who works on the Hill. Every public servant on the Hill works their tail off and puts in 12 to 16 to 18-hour days on the regular.
Yeah.
So it does age you, it does stress you, and you know, like I said, he needed to get away from it, and I can understand that.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat pointed to his resignation letter, so I figured why not read it as well, given what he has to say. "I have informed the Prime Minister that I intend to step down as Minister of Labour and Minister for Seniors effective July 19th, 2024. I shall not be seeking re-election. I intend to serve as the Member of Parliament for St. John's South Mount Pearl until the next general election. These were difficult decisions. Being chosen as MP in 3 elections over 9 years by the people of this riding has been a great honor. But ultimately, my family comes first. I need to be a better husband, son, uncle, and friend, and this job means and deserves a lot of time in order to do it well. 10 years ago, my husband and I made the decision that I'd run. We dedicated a year to campaigning and we won the election. 2 years later, the Prime Minister entrusted me to join the government. I was and remain deeply indebted to him for that chance, and so I set out to reciprocate through hard work and service to my country. During my time at Veterans Affairs, we brought back a lifelong pension after some 50 town halls listening to veterans across the country. We introduced an education and training benefit and tried to rebuild the trust where much had been lost in years previous. During my time at Indigenous Services, we got legislation through the House and Senate that finally returns child and family services to First Nations, Inuit, and Métis communities. I believe this will be remembered as one of the most important things we have done as a government. During my time at Natural Resources, we developed the National Hydrogen Plan, the Small Modular Reactor Action Plan, and the Critical Minerals List. We committed to growing our nuclear industry, we committed to solar, wind, batteries, and upgraded transmission. We completed Line 3 and carried on with TMX. We built bridges with provinces, territories, and indigenous peoples. We did all this while getting our natural resource industries through a global pandemic, an oil price war, and the ensuing economic consequences. They're on stronger footing now, and the opportunities abound. During my time at Labor, we passed 10 days of paid sick leave and a ban on replacement workers, both unanimously. We created a union-led advisory table and passed a Sustainable Jobs Act that will give workers a real say as we deal with automation, AI, and new opportunities in energy. Through it all, we strengthened our commitment to collective bargaining and our conviction that the best deals are indeed made at the table. During my time at Seniors, we started implementing dental coverage that will be the most consequential measure for seniors that any government has taken in decades. And on that, let's just say that the association, I think it is, of dental hygienist assistants and denturists are actually leading a campaign to get the dentists to sign on because they're saying, we have seen it with our own eyes how good this works, and it works. Why are you hesitating? And the federal government has made the application, the joining in process so simple. And it seems that after all of this, the Canadian Dental Association had put out a statement stating, I think it was the Canadian Dental Association, not sure, don't quote me on that one, but some group had put out a statement saying that with these changes, they do foresee that a whole lot more dentists will be joining. So it seems that the right changes were being made. So this is government, again, working as it should. A policy came out. Some people said, this doesn't really work for us. Let's make some adjustments. The government made the adjustments, and now people are saying, hey, these adjustments look good. That's government working out as it should. That was under this guy. Back to his letter. As chair of the Ministerial Working Group on Regulatory Efficiency and Clean Growth, we now have an action plan to lower emissions and build up renewables, and to do it fast by cutting red tape across government, working better with provinces and territories, building up Indigenous capacity and participation, and giving investors and workers the certainty they sorely need. As I've said repeatedly, leading the world in energy and securing our continued prosperity is our national mission. Importantly for me at this juncture, I leave my province in far better financial health, with $5.2 billion towards Muskrat Falls rate mitigation, $2.5 billion from the Atlantic Accord renewal agreement, and a $400 million investment during COVID in offshore workers and towards lowering emissions. Hydrogen and offshore wind projects are beginning to flourish around the island, with investments in the billions and customers all over the world. Canada is better placed now to lower emissions in traditional energy sectors and lead the world in renewables. It can only happen if governments, business, Indigenous peoples, and workers work together respectfully, and if we keep affordability top of mind. But I have no doubt it can happen because I'm seeing it happen right now in Newfoundland and Labrador. We are leaders at home and around the world, and I'm incredibly proud of that fact. I'm also proud of the fact that no government has delivered more for my province since Confederation itself. That happened because of both the strength of character of the MPs elected and the solidarity and focus we brought to the job. The Liberal MPs I serve with are some of the finest people I know, and I'm proud to serve with them, as I have 2 fine premiers of my province. You can spend your time in political capital on old foolishness, as my nan would call it, or you can do the work. We do the work. as does Atlantic Caucus, every single week that we put our case forward to the Prime Minister and National Caucus. And can I just say, as a longtime student and reporter of Canadian politics, how proud I am to work with such a solid group of people as the MPs, senators, cabinet colleagues, and staff that I've had over these past 9 years. Their breadth and depth of experience, their compassion, and the commitment to our country is demonstrated every single week. On both sides of the aisle and in every quarter, I've made steadfast friends. These are people who you can count on, and in this business, you quickly learn the fair weather from the real. I'll miss my committed staff in Ottawa, St. John's, and across Canada over the years, especially Paul Moan, my chief of staff, and Mark Duggan, who minds the shop at home. Every one of them, past and present, have shown incredible dedication to country. I was a staffer for 5 years myself, so my expectations of them have always been high. Without fail, they've met them. I'll miss working as closely as I have with our federal civil service in every role I've had. They've proven their mettle over the most extenuating of circumstances, particularly a global pandemic. I'll miss working with this Prime Minister as I have. I believe he'll be regarded as one of the most consequential and important leaders in our country's history. His strength, endurance, and vision are unmatched, and they will see us through the next election. As will our Liberal Party volunteers. The crowd here in my riding are the best you could want. Some of them have been knocking on doors with me and making phone calls for 10 years. We've added many new faces to that core, dedicated group of 2014. They're all friends now, and we will never forget how they stood with us through thick and thin. Lastly, but above all, my husband, and I come back to the people of St. John's South Mount Pearl, who put their faith in me 9 years ago. I tell them now what I told them then, that I'm not here for the show, I'm here to do the job. To my husband, my mother, my late father, my brother, and my sister, my in-laws and their families, you've all supported me these past 10 years, but time, as we all know, passes by too quickly, and I want to be around more for you. We live in hectic times. They've been hectic almost from the time we took office in 2015. Nerves are rubbed raw, but we have a choice. This is a time to unite, not divide, create, not destroy, and build rather than break this great country of Canada. It is a treasure. It's worth fighting for.
Sage advice indeed.
He is good. He is real good.
Well, I mean, he was a long-time journalist. He has media training, and being a Newfoundlander, he's going to speak from his heart. It just harkens back to the time when they said, will you enact back to work legislation regarding the port strike in Vancouver? And he's like, no, absolutely not. Like, what is wrong with you? That just made me think this guy actually respects unions. So, wow. Haven't seen that in a long time.
Right?
You know, that's the kind of politician we want.
Compare and contrast Seamus O'Regan with Doug Ford right now. The LCBO strike.
Yeah. Well, and so his detractors, the neo crystal fascist reformicons, as I like to refer to them, were literally making fun of his letter that you just read. I'm like, what's to make fun of that? What? Oh.
Yes. And the thing is, like, he went through all the achievements. And then the people I work with, and everything is just like, you're sitting there going, yeah, you did do that.
Mm-hmm.
You did do that. Yes, that was like, list those things down, right? Like, campaign on this, man. This is the way you should be campaigning. This is the stuff. Toot your own horn a little bit. How you doing? Energy-wise?
I'm fading real fast here, man. And I just found out my flight won't get in until it's been delayed. So I'm not getting home till about 2 a.m. now. Yeah, that makes for a long day. So I need to go to bed. I'm sorry. It's been an interesting 2 weeks getting up at 4:30 almost every day.
Right. Okay, Cubs. I had a lot more for you. But then again, I mean, I had a lot for you yesterday too. So
Yeah.
it balances out. It balances
Okay.
out. Hopefully it will. Well, here's the thing. I'm hoping it will hold till Monday. I mean, it'll still be news. It's still important to say, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the part. The part is that there's just so much news.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's going to be Saturday, Sunday news before. It's like, will there be room for this news come Monday? I don't know. But as the kids say here, we appreciate you, Paul, with big, 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 big hearts. Because yeah, this was like, I love your dedication. Trust me, like, cause I'm grateful. Like, you really should have stayed in bed. Oh, my friend. It's like you know me, man. I'm a chronic insomniac. I value my sleep so much. So I'm listen. Thank you, thank you.
You know,
It means a lot.
I'll be back to sleep in a few minutes.
It means a lot. Um, did mention just very quickly. Uh, we didn't talk about the CrowdStrike thing, but yes, there's a whole bunch of computer stuff that's down. It seems to be that it was based on Kid
An
Jim
update.
here. Mr. Jim here who knows a lot about this. That it has something to do with an update. It said improperly tested updates pushed out quote on schedule. Nothing to do with AI. There's nothing being suspected that
No.
that it's a spyware type thing or cyber
It's
attack
nothing.
or
It's
whatnot. Right? But
that we've seen that happen with personal computers where you update and it's like it just bogs everything down. So you have to roll the update back, and they issue apologies that shouldn't have been released. Blah, blah, blah. Except this time it affected the planet from a commercial aspect and not just a personal computer user aspect. So it's
yeah, so flights are changed and delayed. You might have trouble doing some banking transactions, deposits.
my
that you
flight's
expected.
delayed. So
Yeah, things you might expected to have been deposited are not going to happen on time. So, but don't panic. That's just going on. So I'm just speeding through a couple of things so Mr. Grizzly can get to bed. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is in China at the invitation of China. So perhaps a thawing of stuff, because this is the first time a high-level official has been in China since 2017.
yeah.
So China blinking a little bit.
Well, maybe she
Economy's
feel
not.
like the FIPA is not a good thing for Canada, and we might
Yeah.
want to re-examine that.
Well, it seems that China might, the economic growth at one point was like in the 10% double digits, and now it's like around like 4.6% or something like that. And with possibility of Trump and everybody talking about taxes on EVs from China, China might be thinking maybe it's a better idea to play nicey-nicey with some of the U.S.'s allies right now.
Probably.
So that's going on. News that's going to make Pierre Poilievre spit teeth. The IMF put out its projections for GDP growth for next year, and Canada is going to lead the G7.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Our latest inflation numbers came out. They're back down to 2.7% for core inflation. Food inflation is a little bit up, though. But that in combination with the decrease in inflation in the United States and a little bit of rise in unemployment, which the Bank of Canada was looking to see, and slowing wage growth, but wage growth is still higher than inflation at the moment. It seems pretty much a guaranteed deal that the Bank of Canada on the 24th will lower interest rates one more time, and that the Fed will do it in the United States in September, which then gives the Bank of Canada more leeway to add an extra one at one point. Everybody was saying that the dollar would crash if we would start to have a gap like to below 70 cents, but the dollar's been stable around 73. So that prediction also did not come true. And finally, we mentioned a little bit about David Parker mentioning something or being cryptic about blowing the whistle. Well, it seems it has happened because they said to ask about Turkish Tylenol, box seats, Daniel Smith, and something. And well, the Globe and Mail has the story out about box sweet Danny.
Yeah, I saw that. So,
and she's got a leadership review coming. And she recently gave a job to Alison Redford, who got booted out because of the Sky Palace thing, right?
Yeah.
So apparently in that article, she was offered tickets to go see the hometown classic hockey game, but it was at Edmonton. But because she was only going to be allowed to stay in the suite for just 20 minutes, she said no.
Oh.
And then the rules changed.
Well, let's remember that as much as I absolutely despise David Parker and his type of politics and what he wants to do to this country and how he wants to take it over and make it a Christo-fascist state. He has said from the outset that he does not like corruption. He does not, and he's calling it out. Broken clock. That's all. That's all I've got to say. I do not like the man. I do not trust him. I detest him. I despise him. I think he's a bad person who will do bad things if he gets the reins of power, which he's not actually seeking. He just wants to be the puppet master in the background. But calling this out is something he said he would do. And he did.
Yep. It always brings to mind one of my favorite quotes. It is from T.S. Eliot's Murder in the Cathedral.
Mm-hmm.
The last temptation is the greatest treason, to do the right deed for the wrong reason.
Yes. Well, and that's, yeah.
It's like, he may have done something good, but don't trust the motive. Don't trust the motive. So there you go. I was able to get all through of that in a couple of minutes. Speed through it like this. Yeah, later on, if we have time for more detail in a couple of shows, we'll get into it. But that's sort of the overview of stuff that's going on.
I think what Saucy C, what she's saying is the acting. I do not trust David Parker. He does not like corruption that he is not in control of. And that's it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Boom, boom,
Right?
boom, boom, boom.
That's right on the money there.
Boom, boom, boom. Yes. See? Our kids. Nailing
right
it.
On the money.
Nailing it.
Yeah. It's like
all the time.
He doesn't like corruption if it's not under his control. Mm-hmm. Because he wants to be a puppet master and he'll do whatever he can to pull the strings. So, I mean, is he corrupt? I have every reason to believe he is. But he's not controlling this one, so he's going to call it out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do the right thing for the wrong reason.
And, like, listen, them two are at war. So,
yeah.
If he can sweep a leg.
Yeah, he will. He will.
Hey, doesn't have to be pretty.
Exactly.
All right. Kids and Cubs. Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed.
All right, Kids and Cubs. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring. So please, spread the beaver. And spread the word about our show. I had to. Tell your peeps and poops all about us. And if you would like to help us out, thanks to the Ray Girl, you can. Because if you scan the QR code that's about to appear right under this thing right here, see? That will bring you to our pod page, podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when you click on subscribe there, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to you. Boom. And that way you don't miss an episode. If you'd like to help us in other ways, well, then you need to make like Kit Elaine and surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page. There she is. Have a beyond awesome day, everyone. And remember to smash the button before you leave. Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button. Smash the share button. If you smash the subscribe button, you'll be joining 4,400 other fine, sexy, fabulous, incredibly interesting and fascinating, great conversationalists such as yourselves.
Yeah, this is true.
Quality people. Yeah. Yeah. Little compliment has never hurt anyone. No. If you'd like to help us out in other ways, the QR code by Mr. Grizzly's head will bring you to our coffee page or the Emergency Hydration Fund, otherwise known as our tip jar. ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And if you have a little spare change jingling in your pockets and you think that we've done a good show, well then, you just put them in there and, well, well, Mr. Grizzly wants me to say we invested back in the show, so we invested back in the show.
I do.
I know you do. Ah, man. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, because democracy is something that you do. Remember, if you're in the 3 provinces that have provincial elections coming up, sign up to help out in some way. And if you have the opportunity to buy Team Canada, the wheelchair basketball T-shirts that our good friend Devin Haru has been promoting, please surf on down. They're about $35, and they're really, really snazzy looking. And by the way, if you've been on Twitter, Devin has been with Team Canada with the swim team, and they made a stop at Juno Beach.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, because they're at Cannes, France.
Caen. Yeah, it's not Cannes where they have the film.
Yeah. It's CAEN, and they're having their pre-Olympic training camp there, and they made a visit there. So we're getting some sportscast with a little bit of history and whatnot. So Devin's already doing some great stuff for us there. All right, it could be a tough world out there. So kids and cubs, please be kind and gentle with yourselves. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom, please?
Get some sleep. I'm exhausted. I can't even think straight right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, by the way, speaking of Juno Beach, we missed it, but July 14th, Jour de la Bastille.
Oh, yeah. Bastille
Allons,
Day.
enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. So a little late, but still just as sincere. And by the way, thank you, France.
Do you hear the people singing the songs of...
I'm screaming that.
Les Miserables. I just want to say thanks to everybody for all the well wishes and noticing in the chat. I really do appreciate it. I'm just a zombie right now, but thank you to everyone for your well wishes. I really, really do appreciate it. It's been a wonderful vacation, and I'm going to put some video clips together over the next couple of days to try and video clips and photos together to try and put a montage of stuff. This is not the computer to do it on. This is a good computer, but it's not my studio at home where I can do things really, really well. So yeah, I'm going to have video clips, some photos, a little montage of stuff, give you an idea of some of the sights, sounds, and things I experienced while I was here. So yeah.
What I did on my summer vacation.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, yes. So bring some for the whole class.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Grizzly, please cue the cock.
Yeah, I think I can do. There it is. I had to look for it because everything is out of focus right now.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. Oh my god, I got this. What's this? Good news. I'm just seeing in the chats. Kit Elaine is a grandma again. I think for the 8th time, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, a new grandbaby as of about 2 hours ago. He's a little over 2 hours old. Oh my god, that's so wonderful. Yay. A new kit.
Yeah, awesome.
A new kit. Yay.
Well done. Happy for you.
Oh, our best wishes to the entire family. Welcome, little one. You have no idea how loved you're going to be. You have no idea. Oh.
I'll see you later.
Bye.